let's get started. So here we go, Schoology. What are we doing today? I'm gonna, our 20-minute session is gonna be super, super quick because today's lesson is not that different or difficult than yesterday and the day before. I'm going to just go over 2 example problems. And so today would be the day where if you wanna hang back and talk about your grade, talk about any issues, concerns that you have, we can go over that because we have plenty of time today. For the rest of you who are doing okay and who don't have any questions, get into LT1. Your new lesson is up, solving 2-step inequalities, just the instruction and just take the notes, okay? Notice how here it says you do not need to solve, or not solve, sorry, you do not need to submit your notes. So when you get on Edgenuity, all of you should really be on the instruction part. Remember what I told you yesterday, you have essentially 2 days to get your Edgenuity done before it becomes a 0. So today is Thursday. That means tomorrow is Friday. So tomorrow at midnight, really when it's like Saturday morning, I'm going to be checking Edgenuity and you're going to get a 0 if your instruction is not done. Now, of course, if you have some extenuating circumstance, like you have a family emergency or you lost power or something where you cannot get it done, have your parents email me. Okay, I want your parents to email me if it's something like that. But you essentially have 2 days. Please do not procrastinate because tomorrow we're doing something different. We're doing the quiz tomorrow. So I just don't always want you to be a day behind. But the extra buffer day, the extra pillow cushion is for you just in case you do have technology problems or just in case you can't get anything done. So remember what I said yesterday. It's a completion grade. It's 100 or it's a 0. So if it's not done on time, as in it's not done by Friday at midnight. So you have all day today and all day tomorrow. But once the clock turns midnight, all of your assignments are going to turn into pumpkins again, okay? So it's going to be a 0 if it's not done on time, starting from this point moving forward, okay? Where do you find your notes? Because I don't have your notes uploaded here. Your notes are here, remember? So if you go on Edgenuity, if you go to the plus sign, view guided notes. So you can view them here. For those of you who print, if you're only doing the instruction, you don't have to print page 1, you don't have to print page 2. Start printing from page 3 because you're only doing the instruction. So you're really printing from page 3 all the way to this is page 10, so page 9. So page 3 to 9, that's what you would be printing because you don't need the summary. You're only doing the instruction on Edgenuity. One more thing I want to show you is some of you have mentioned to me how like some Edgenuity videos, the volume is really weird and it kind of sounds warbly or it sounds like, or you just can't hear it, but then some others work. So if there comes a time where you can't hear your Edgenuity video, there's this thing called a transcript. Transcript is literally word for word everything the teacher is saying. So if there's something where you're like, I just can't, well then just open this up and it's kind of like captions. You can just read along with it. Okay. All right. So that's what we're doing today. Are there any questions before we get started? Okay, let's do this. We literally have 2 problems to do and that's it. Okay, so we have plenty of time today for you to work one-on-one with me or you to talk one-on-one with me or for you to still get caught up if you are still not caught up yet. All right, here we go. What we are talking about today is graphing and solving 2-step inequalities. It's basically like a 2-step equation, except that you have an inequality and not an equal sign in between. So here's the thing. The same rules apply, right? Always do your adding and subtracting first, then do your multiplying and dividing. You just need to remember that if you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip your symbol. So that's the only difference than really like 6th grade math, okay? So let's solve this. I'm going to draw my wall. Can someone just shout out, what number do I drop down first?
6.
Thank you. I dropped down the 6 first because you're doing your adding and subtracting first. So you don't do the -2, you do the 6. So this is a +6. Opposite of a +6 is a -6. So it looks like my new problem is going to be -2x. My symbol still stays the same because I did not multiply or divide by a negative. I haven't done that, so keep your symbol the same. 16 minus 6 is 10. All right, can someone different shout out? What do I do now?
Divide by -2.
Thank you. So now you do your multiplying and dividing. You're dividing by -2. So just drop everything down. I have an X. This time, yes, I flipped my symbol. I flipped my symbol because I divided by a negative. So you flip your symbol, and then you have 10 divided by -2 is 5. So your final answer, sorry, I'm squishing it in there, is X is less than -5. Not your final answer. Okay, now it says to graph. So let's go ahead and just practice graphing that. -5 is in the center, -6 is smaller, -4 is greater. All right, so when I have my circle on -5, is it an open circle or a closed circle?
Open.
Thank you. It is an open circle because look, it's X is less than -5. It doesn't include, it's not or equal to. So since it doesn't include -5, I don't want to include it by filling in that circle. All right, so do I shade to the left or shade to the right?
Left.
Left. And don't think it's because this arrow is pointing to the left. That trick only works like if you go like this and you're like, oh, it's a left arrow. That only works if X is written first. Think of it like this. What is it in terms of X? X is less than, right? Because the alligator, the inequality is not eating X, which means X is smaller. If X is less than, all the less than numbers are to the left. All the greater than numbers are to the right. So that would be that. So that's really what you're doing today. All right, it's a two-step equation. You guys learned two-step equations in 6th grade. The only difference is you have to make sure to remember to flip your symbol if you multiply or divide by a negative. Okay, all right, word problem. The word problems are always the worst. Okay, they're the hardest to set up. So that's why let's do one together. So for this one, during the first 3 weeks of training, a runner runs 20 miles, 22 miles, 21 miles. How many miles must she run during the 4th week to have a mean of at least 22 miles per week? Okay, this one's a little bit trickier. So remember how whenever I set this up, I'm always going to have like a U because it talks about you or the runner or whoever, some symbol, and then some number. So can someone shout out, what's the number here? Any of these maybe. Maybe it would be a clue if, because you know you have some inequality. So like the words like no more than, at most, or greater than. Like if you see those words, maybe it'll give you a hint as to what number you should have as kind of like your answer part.
22 maybe?
Yes, it would be 22, definitely. And the reason why is because it says at least. You want to have a mean of at least 22. So at least 22. So 22 is your end goal. That's what you want to get to. All right, at least. Which way does it go? Is it greater than or equal to or less than or equal to? Think of it in terms of money. You have at least $22. Can you have more or less than? More. If you have at least $22, that means you could have more than $22. So you are more than 22, not dollars, but miles, but same thing. Okay, so then we have the or equal to, because you could have 22. All right, so that hopefully all of you are able to get to this. Now this stuff in here is a little bit more difficult. Normally you would have like an X plus a number, an X divided by, X minus, whatever. But let's see here, because this is a little bit different. During the first 3 weeks of training, you run 20, 22, 21. How many miles must you run during the 4th week? So if I break it down, let's say the first week I run 20, second week I run 22, third week I run 21. How many must I run during the 4th week? How much must she run during the 4th week? So what should I write for the 4th week?
X.
X, because I don't know. How much must I run? I don't know. So let's put X. So here are my 4 weeks to have a mean of at least 22. Does anyone remember? How do I find or calculate mean? What do I have to do?
You add all the numbers and then you divide.
Yes. So you add up all the numbers. Well, what numbers? These numbers, the data, 20, 22, 21, and X. How much must I have for 4 weeks, right? How many miles must she run during the 4th week to have a mean of at least 22? So add them all up. So 20 plus 22 plus 21 plus X. Add them all up and divide. What am I dividing by here? 4, because I have 4 weeks total. Some kids think 3 because you have 3 numbers. Just don't forget, you're still looking for that 4th week. So you have to, yes, you do have to divide by 4. Okay, so that's how I do this. This is how I set it up. Okay, so I have a mean of at least 22. And so let's solve for x. So let me rewrite it a little bit neater, maybe 20 plus 22 plus 21 plus x all over 4 greater than or equal to 22. Okay, so let's solve this. What do you guys think I have to do first?
Multiply by 4.
Hey, good job. Remember how I told you, I think it was last week, whenever you have a big fraction, the first thing you have to do is multiply by your denominator to get rid of that. So then left over, I have 20 plus 22 plus 21 plus x is greater than or equal to 88. I did not flip my symbol because I am not multiplying by a negative. All right, what's the next thing I should do then?
Combine like terms.
Yeah, I mean, these are all on the same side, right? So you can just combine them because they're just numbers. 20 plus 22, that's 42 plus 21 is 63. I think I added that right. 63 plus x is greater than or equal to 88. So I just kind of cleaned up my problem. Okay, now what do I do?
Subtract by 63.
Yes, sir. I'm going to subtract 63 on both sides. Okay, so do I flip my symbol, yes or no?
No.
Because I did not multiply or divide by a negative, I can't subtract, even though I used a calculator. I don't flip my symbol. So that's my answer. But what does that mean? That means that she has to run 25, but she's not running exactly 25. So what is that? Like, is it at least or at most?
At least.
Yeah, at least, because you're greater than, right? So if you're greater than, you could have more than 25. So that's at least 25 miles. So that would technically be the full answer. Okay, so